Imagine lodging your tax return in July, declaring $140,000 of income for the year, and getting a letter back from the ATO that says you owe nothing. Not a reduced bill, nothing. And for some Australians, that letter comes with a cheque attached. That is not a loophole, and it is not aggressive tax planning. It is how the Australian dividend system was designed to work, and most people who could be using it have no idea the numbers go this high. Today, I am going to show you exactly how much dividend income you can receive in Australia before the ATO takes a single dollar, why this country is almost alone in the world in allowing it, and the 3 income levels where it works hardest. Let us start with the reason any of this is possible. It is called dividend imputation, and franking credits are how it reaches you. When an Australian company earns a profit, it pays 30% company tax before it pays you anything. So by the time a dividend lands in your account, the tax has already been paid once. Dividend imputation says that dollars should not be taxed twice, so the government hands you a credit for the tax the company already paid on your behalf. Bob Hawke's government introduced this back in 1987, and Australia and New Zealand are now among the only countries on Earth that still run a full imputation system. In the United States, the United Kingdom, and most of Europe, that same dollar of company profit gets taxed at the company level, and then taxed again in your hands. Australians get the tax back. That is the entire advantage in one sentence. Here's how it works in practice. If a company pays you a $70 fully franked dividend, $30 of tax has already been paid on it. Your taxable income is not $70, it is $100. That is the grossed up figure. But you also receive a $30 credit against your tax bill. And here is the part that changes everything. That credit is refundable. If your tax bill is smaller than your credits, the difference does not just disappear. The ATO pays you the balance in cash. Now, let us get to the number you came for. If fully franked Australian dividends are your only income, and you are a single Australian resident, you can receive around $140,500 in cash dividends in the 2026-27 financial year before you owe a single dollar of net tax. Let me show you why. $140,500 in cash grosses up to just over $200,000 of taxable income, carrying about $60,200 in franking credits. The tax on $200,000, including the Medicare levy, is also about $60,200. The credits cancel the bill. Exactly. Net tax, zero. The reason that break-even lands so high is simple arithmetic. Franking credits arrive at a flat 30%, while your personal tax rate starts at 0 and climbs. Your average tax rate only reaches 30% when your income passes about $200,000. Below that point, you are always ahead. But here is the level where this gets genuinely powerful. And it is not the top, it is the bottom. Say your grossed up dividend income is $50,000. That is $35,000 in cash plus $15,000 in franking credits. Your tax on $50,000 after the low income tax offset and the Medicare levy comes to around $6,300. Your credits are $15,000. So the ATO does not just wipe your bill. It sends you a check for roughly $8,700. Read that again. You collected $35,000 of dividends, paid no tax, and the government paid you nearly $9,000 on top. Your effective income was closer to $44,000. If you are retired or getting close, there is another layer stacked on top of this. It is called SAPTO, the Seniors and Pensioners Tax Offset. Once you hit pension age, SAPTO adds up to $2,230 of offset for a single person, which lifts your effective tax-free income to about $35,800. Inside that zone, your tax bill is zero, and every franking credit comes back as cash. Around $25,000 in fully franked dividends means roughly $10,700 refunded straight into your bank account every single year for doing absolutely nothing. And there is a detail here that almost nobody mentions. Superannuation pension income is completely tax-free from age 60, and it does not count toward the SAPTO income test at all. So a retiree can be drawing a super pension and still hold a separate dividend portfolio inside the tax-free SAPTO zone. 2 income streams, neither one taxed. Now the structure that beats all of them. An SMSF in full pension phase pays 0% tax on its investment earnings. 0. Every franking credit it receives is refunded in full because there is no tax bill for them to offset. What that means in practice is that a 5% fully franked yield becomes an effective 7.14% inside a pension phase fund. That is a 43% uplift on your income from tax structure alone without picking a single different share. It is the reason ASX dividend shares are so heavily represented in retiree SMSF portfolios. So, how much capital does each of these levels actually take? The ASX 200 has a long-run yield of around 4 to 4.5%, though it has drifted lower recently. A dedicated income portfolio can reasonably target 5 to 5.5% in cash before franking. At a 5% cash yield, the SAPTO tax-free zone needs about $500,000 invested. The full refund sweet spot, around $35,000 in dividends, needs about $700,000. And the $200,000 break-even, where you receive $140,000 tax-free, needs roughly $2.8 million, which tells you something important. You do not need to be wealthy for this to work. The single most valuable zone in the entire system sits at around $500,000, well, inside reach for someone contributing consistently over a working life. Now the traps, because there are three and they all cost real money, the first is unfranked dividends. Not every dividend carries credits. Property trusts, listed REITs, and companies with heavy foreign earnings often pay partly franked or completely unfranked distributions. Same headline yield, none of the tax advantage. Always check the franking percentage, not just the yield. The second is the 45-day holding rule. To claim franking credits above a small threshold, you generally need to hold the shares at risk for at least 45 days around the dividend date. Buy just before the ex-dividend date and sell straight after, and the ATO can deny the credit entirely. The third is the oldest trap in income investing: chasing yield. If you see 12% on the ASX, the market is telling you something. Either the price has collapsed because the business is in trouble, or the dividend is about to be cut. Sustainable, fully franked dividends come from boring, profitable Australian tax companies. The banks, Wesfarmers, Telstra, Woolworths, the major insurers. Boring is the entire point. If you would rather not pick individual companies, the ETFs do the work for you. VAS gives you the whole ASX 300. VHY targets higher yielding names. IOZ and several income-focused funds sit in the same space. Just check the franking level in the fund's distribution statements, because it varies year to year depending on what the underlying companies actually paid. One last thing worth saying honestly. Franking credits are a tax advantage, not a return. They do not make a bad company good, and a portfolio built purely to harvest credits will be heavily concentrated in Australian banks and miners. That is a real diversification risk, and Morningstar has argued for years that Australian investors systematically overvalue franking and underweight global shares because of it. Use the advantage, do not let it design your whole portfolio. So, bringing it all together. Franking credits mean Australian dividend income is taxed once, not twice. A single person with fully franked dividends as their only income can receive about $140,000 before paying net tax. Below that, the credits come back as cash refunds. With SAPTO in retirement, the tax-free zone is roughly $35,800, and inside a pension phase super fund, every credit is refunded in full. Almost no other country lets its investors do this. If you are building an income portfolio anywhere in the world, Australia hands you a head start, and most people using it have no idea how far it actually goes. If this helped, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. More like this is coming. Thanks for watching.